by Jacquin video series. We are here with an exciting interview for you today. Mili Suleman of KUFRI, a textile company based in Dallas, Texas. You have global roots, which we'll get into in a moment, but Dallas is her home, and she is making really, really interesting textiles, the foundation of pillows, the foundation of coverings for furniture, and a lot of interesting uses. So we're going to get all into that in a moment. But I first want to ask you about your path to entrepreneurship. How did that come about? What inspired you? Hey, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yes. So, I think it's in my DNA for sure. My father is an entrepreneur, and we grew up in the Middle East. I grew up in the Middle East. So he and my mom moved from India to Oman with no money, very, very little money, and they really built their lives, and I saw that, and I think it just got into me, built into me. And every time I take a job, whether it's with a design agency or like another private firm, within a couple of weeks, I would start hustling during lunch and like making cold calls to different places to see if they needed graphic design help. I just always did that. So I always had like a side hustle. And within a couple of years, I would quit and start my own business.
Well, I always tell
always been that way.
people, if you want to start a business, think about your side hustles. What are the things you're good at?
Right.
And maybe that can be the foundation for something exciting. What's interesting, you say you moved to Oman, or your family, with really not quite a lot. So when you say they were entrepreneurs, you saw them really building from the ground up. How did just seeing them overcome that adversity of just really getting started, gaining that momentum, how has that inspired you?
So it has been a quiet riot, is what I call it.
Okay, I like that.
It's a quiet riot that started to slowly ruin me without me knowing it. So it's not like my dad had a factory and I'd go to work with him every day. It wasn't anything like that. He was a sole proprietor. He had a car business. They love their cars in the Middle East. So that was the business, and he would buy and sell luxury cars. And he slowly built that business. But, I would just like sit in the car if he was meeting someone and just like watch him from the window.
Quiet observer.
Quiet observer. And I was always on the sidelines. He never talked to us about, details about the business. But I think it was just, the quiet riot building in me. And I was like, okay, I've never been able to shake that off, and I've never fought it.
Yeah, and once you see it can be done, your dad did it, I guess that does empower you a little bit to just get out into something new.
Yes.
You mentioned a graphic design background, which I think graphic design is really a fabulous foundation for anything in the design industry. So really just how do you utilize your graphic design background today? How does that come together in KUFRI?
So graphic design has saved me a ton of money. I build all my marketing materials, all that stuff. Now I have gotten to the point where if I really want a fresh take on something, I will find the right graphic designer and give them the project. But it has really helped me visualize, and this whole branding thing, it has helped me visualize and put my ideas in a container. And that has helped me, that kind of graphic design thinking of what is this going to look like, what are the components I need. That has really helped me in my graphic design business and my textile business.
I mean, your design background, really exciting. I was reading about your first Architectural Digest design show back in March. How was the experience?
It was great. I waited 4 years to do the big trade show in New York. It was awesome. I didn't get a ton of clients, but I got a couple of very strong clients who have already repeat bought from me. It was not cheap by any means, but it was worth it.
And I'm sure a great exposure opportunity and whatnot.
Yes.
One thing I didn't know, I have been to India, but I've not been to all of the cities and towns. Obviously, there are so many. KUFRI, name of a city, name of your brand. I've never been. What inspired you about KUFRI to bring this to your brand?
So KUFRI is what we call a hill station. So it's like this little town nestled on top of the mountains, and people go there to take a break.
Okay.
You know, it's much cooler. Everyone thinks of India as tropical and hot, but it's much cooler in KUFRI. And you know, there are different sort of winter activities. It's just a place of calm and respite, but I think it's also got a lot of, you can renew your energy. And I just, you know, when I think about the sound, KUFRI, you know, it just makes me feel free.
I really like that.
And that became the name.
So I know you have your, well, I'm not sure if you call them workshops or manufactories. I've heard, you know, people using different terminologies, but I know you're based in India, and you also have a hand loom here in Dallas. How often are you going to your hand loom in Dallas, and are you operating it yourself when you go in Dallas?
So actually, I purchased the hand loom and placed it in one of the UNT grad students' apartments in Denton, which is like 30 minutes from where I live. And the reason for that is because weaving is such a tedious, time-consuming process.
Slow, but
slow.
it's for a reason, because it's all hand done.
Exactly. And that's why you call it slow textiles. But having it here in my home or in a studio outside and having someone come to work and work on the loom, it's just not, it wasn't what I wanted. What I wanted is for the weaver to be able to do this at their pace. Of course, you know, deliver when it's on time. Right. But really do this from the comfort of their home. So what we do is, you know, I'll design certain textiles, certain fabrics, and I will have Alex, who's in Denton, I will have her weave a sample. The sample is crucial because only if the sample is approved will I send it to the units in India. Otherwise, I'm stuck with a 50-yard bolt that doesn't have the right color or isn't woven properly or didn't turn out right. So the sample is crucial.
Wow, that's a smart process, just making sure you've got the local resources to have your ideas kind of put into a test form quickly versus having them ship you a test from India. So it sounds like a great process. Sounds like you've connected with some of the universities local. I've seen a lot of your work just through your gallery, your press page, really beautiful. And you can buy a completed product from you, like one of these lovely pillows, but I'm sure people are also taking your textiles and using them for their own unique purposes. What has been the most interesting use of your textiles you've seen a client produce so far?
So there is this one fabric called Ira, which is, I mean, I love all my fabrics, of course, but Ira has been my all-time favorite. It has been there since year 2. And someone ordered a large amount of Ira to reupholster the entire sectional. And Ira is a classic A-cut design, so it's a traditional design, but it's we weave it on a much thicker ground, thicker count yarn, and so the result is different from what you have seen.
More textured, I'm thinking.
More thicker, but it just produces this beautiful kind of raw. And I have some curtains made out of it, so we can definitely see this. But they made this gorgeous sectional. But the thing is, like, we never really, a lot of times I don't get to see the end result.
Well, we would love to show our readers Ira, so we'll include a photo of that in the blog, a couple of really interesting photos of things maybe not shown in our video today. Ira will have its moment on the Interiors by Jacquin blog. Okay, so really just a few more questions for you. This has been really interesting. Tell us about how the process was getting the India hand loom workshops or manufactories going. Just, you know, finding the place, the beginning grounds of, you know, your workshop. How was that?
So it's a lot of just being on the ground and going to weaver centers. So in India, textiles are very regional. Each region in India produces its own special textiles because everything is very tribal, so there are different tribes producing different things. So there are weaver centers, textile centers. So it was a lot of research on Google, going to weaver centers, and then taking these long trips.
Did your husband accompany you?
No.
Oh, wow.
Probably a good thing. So we take these long road trips and go into the village. So all our weavers are actually, they're small village units. They either weave from home or it's like a really small unit that they all come together and weave in. And that is very important to me because these artisans in the village, they need the income.
Right.
And also the weavers are getting older, they're aging out. So I think it's really important to show the younger generation, their kids, that this is still a sustainable business.
Absolutely.
And that the buyers abroad are very interested in this product. So
Yeah. This is a really fantastic art form. So I can't even imagine that is slowing down really in any capacity. But people like you are keeping that alive, teaching the new generation. Really exciting, because there is no reason these kind of beautiful textiles should not be around, available, celebrated.
Yes, absolutely. It's a piece that has so much character, it has so much history behind it. And it's a craft that is actually dying because they're aging out. But the more we can understand what makes it different and why these are important, the more we can support them.
Well, we definitely want to support that. So thank you for sharing about KUFRI. We are going to look around your studio a bit. There's still more to go, guys. Stay with us. But I really am excited to see what else you have back there.
All right,
let's head
go.
on over. Hello, we are back. We're now in the studio of Mili Suleman. This place is great. This is a collection of all of her beautiful textile designs. I don't know if this is your all-time list, but certainly quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
So tell me about your best sellers of this wall here so far.
Okay, so what we absolutely sell out of and are best known for are all our neutrals. We have gorgeous neutrals that feel raw but still refined.
And a great weight to them.
And we call it actually a great hand.
A great hand.
A great
Thank
hand.
you. I'm learning.
So our stripe, Cusco stripe, Cora stripe, Sur, Sanjana, and our blush. Our reds and blush.
This is pretty. This is really pretty. And I can see why actually these two in particular might be really popular. You
Yes.
can go with a lot of different designs. This is for the bolder person, but still neutral.
And classic.
And classic, yeah. Never will go out of style. And actually, that's how I like to decorate. I don't want to look back at photos and say, oh gosh, that was a terrible choice.
Exactly. And you know what I like to do, that is the whole basis of my line, is I love art and books and ceramics. And that's usually like in the background, and I change it up, and it can be a really bold painting or it can be a really soothing painting. But the textiles, I feel, should blend. And I'm not really into textiles that are too loud and compete with the artwork. So keep the textiles because they're a little more expensive when you upholster and reupholster. Keep it timeless and change out your pillows and your artwork and books. And
Sounds like it's all about harmony with your art that's on display, with your furniture, everything coming together. And you're right, with the neutral palette, you never have to be afraid to bring in that new piece of artwork. Everything is basically, if you love it, it should come together just fine if you have that neutral palette.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing me around the studio.
Okay.
Thank you for showing me into your home.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.